Hello friends, and welcome to this crochet tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make a candy corn wind spinner that has a ghost looking like a candy corn on the bottom. He also has a curly tail. We have a little braid to help separate the color from the wind spinner to our ghost. Now, I want to point out to you, this is my demo to see how my pattern is going to work, candy corn. What I am planning on doing with this video is, you'll notice here we have a white outline. You're going to be amazed at how we do that. But we're going to, in this particular one, we're going to make it so that some of these are white, some are yellow, some are orange. And then I'm also going to include a brown yarn, which will be more towards the bottom. I'm going to see, or give you an opportunity to see how the various colors will work besides just having white. So come join me. I'm going to show you how to make this super simple, easy candy corn wind spinner right now. Let's go. The nice thing about creating wind spinners is that they really don't take a lot of yarn. They're perfect for scrap yarn projects. In this one, we're going to use white, yellow, orange, and I found a brown that is compatible with the rest of the colors. I didn't want to choose a very dark one. We'll also need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and here I have a, let's see if my light will shine on it. It's a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. For many of you who watch my videos, and lately I've been doing a lot of wind spinners, I always encourage you to start with a really long tail. The long tail goes into the braid. So make it about 12-14 inches. And let's place a slip knot on our hook. Another thing about these wind spinners is you can make them as long or as short as you prefer. So let me loosen this up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to begin with a set of chains. For my video, I'm going to do 30. But we also want to have one on the end for turning. So start with 31 chains. Continue and I will meet you there. Please pause your video. So after you have your chain, you'll notice that we have our first complete chain. We do not count the chain on the hook. So skip this first complete chain and go to the second one. We're only going to pick up the top of the 3 parts of that chain. We're going to make a half double crochet. So yarn over into the top loop of the chain, yarn over through all 3. And what I have found is that if you only use the top loop, it helps in the curling process in making these wind spinners. So go ahead and do 1 per half double crochet, one per chain of a half double crochet in each stitch all the way to the end of the row. At the end of the row, enlarge your hook just a little bit, your loop with your hook in it, and then go ahead and measure your yarn the length of your tail. And then we're going to cut. Doesn't have to be exact. Let's come back to our loop, pull it through, and finish off that by pulling it tight. This finishes row 1. Let's move on to row 2. We will start with our orange yarn next, and what we will do is we will place a very small tail with a slip knot on it. Let's go ahead and do that. Please pause your video. So we're going to start off with a standing double crochet, but we're going to do it in the first stitch. Here's our chain. So right here is our first stitch, because there's our first half double crochet. So if we're right-handed, to the right is that first one. So place your finger on the loop, yarn over, and into that first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. Now if you want, you can take your tail and go through the hook and the working yarn, and then yarn over through the other 2 loops that were on your hook. Then we're going to chain 2 and double crochet in the same stitch. Go over your tail, okay, so we have our V stitch in our first stitch. We're going to skip the second one, and in the next one we're going to do our V stitch again. So double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch, and that completes our second. Well, I guess I did my calculating wrong. At the end of the row we have 1. Let's go ahead and place a single crochet. Make your tail long enough to match the rest of the tails, cut it, and then pull it through. And this is what we have so far. It's starting to show its sign of curling. We're going to be doing a second row of orange. So let's place a slip knot on our hook with a little tail again. And this time we're going to be starting off with a single crochet in that very first stitch. Okay, then into the chain 2 space, half double crochet. You can go over your tail as you're doing this. Double crochet. You see how the tail wants to get in our way, huh? I guess I was out of the camera view, I'm sorry. Chain 2. And in the same chain 2 space, double crochet, and then half double crochet. So you're just basically doing the buildup of the stitching and then the reverse of the stitching. Okay, so half double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, half double crochet. Okay, and then over the first, this double crochet here, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 1, then single crochet over the next double crochet, and into the next chain 2 space, half double crochet, double crochet, chain 2, slide your work, double crochet, half double crochet, slide your work, single crochet over that double crochet from the previous row, chain 1. You also notice that this will cause the row to start to spin in the center as well. Okay, so let me show you one more time. Into that first double crochet of the V stitch, you want a single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, chain 2, slide your work, double crochet, half double crochet, slide your work and single crochet, and then chain 1. Okay, see how it's starting to turn already? Go ahead and do that all the way down to the end of the row, and I'll meet you there. Now, I didn't curl this. It came out curly on its own. Okay, so I'm down here after the last single crochet. I'm just going to slip stitch into that last single crochet from the previous row. Okay, and then I'm going to cut my tail. And the next color we're going to be using is yellow. So let's go ahead and get our yellow out. Place a small tail with a slip knot on our hook, and we'll be ready to move on. In this row, we're going to be adventuring into our next stitch. So right here we have our single crochet, half double, and double. We're going to do a single crochet in each one of those. So let's start with our standing single crochet. Here's one. Remember to go over your tail. We can cut off the excess when we complete this wind spinner. Okay, so here we have 3. Now in our chain 2 space, half double crochet, double crochet, and now we're going to go on to our next stitch size, and that will be our treble. So to make a treble, place your finger on the loop, yarn over twice, watch the control of your tension, and that'll help make it so that your stitch doesn't look all out of place. Okay, so yarn over, we pulled up a loop, yarn over just through the 2. I guess I keep going out of camera range, don't I? Yarn over through 2, and yarn over through 2. You notice we went through 2 yarn overs 3 times. That's why it's called a treble. So let's slide our stitches over, chain 2. Now we're going to go into reverse. So let me show you how to do a treble again in camera view. I know, I'm not that funny, huh? Okay, so place your finger on the loop, yarn over twice, draw up a loop. Okay, kind of snug them up to make sure all the loops are the same size. So yarn over twice and pull through, yarn over and go through 2 loops. I'm thinking too fast and trying to laugh at the same time, huh? There we go. All right. Now we're going to do a double crochet, and a half double crochet. All right. So through here we want to do 3 single crochets. We know that if you're right-handed and your stitch is here, this chain here on the top is part of that stitch. We want to place a single crochet into that. So here's 1 single crochet. We're going to go into the next one for our second, and then our third into the following one. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, let's chain 1. we're going to skip this chain right here, and here's our single crochet. So you might want to spread it out a little bit, and then single crochet into these 3 stitches up to the chain 2 space. Okay, so at our chain 2 space, half double crochet, double crochet, and then our treble. Slide your work, chain 2, and then we're going to do this order in reverse. Treble, double, and half double. My instruction sheet was following me. Okay, and so here we are. We want to place our 3 singles. Chain 1, and then the repeat of the process. Skip the chain, and then the 3 singles up to the chain. Now, I bought a ring light, so I'm hoping I have to kind of dodge the ring light and the camera to see what I'm doing. So if I am out of camera range, I am so sorry. I'm getting better at this stuff. So let's go ahead and do our stitching all the way to the end, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So at the very end of the row, we're just going to slip stitch into that last stitch, measure our tail out, and cut our yarn. The next row that we will be doing is yellow. This will be the final row on adding before we do our outline for the give it of the separate candy corn look. So please place a slip knot with a short tail with yellow yarn, and we'll move on to our next step. This row is going to be a very fun row. It's going to seem involved, but I think we'll be just fine. So in our first one, we're going to do a slip stitch. Remember to bring your tail over. Okay. Single crochet into the next 2 stitches. As you can tell, I'm also single crocheting over my tail as I go along. We're going to chain 1, and our next stitch will be that half double crochet, so we're going to skip that stitch. But in our double crochet stitch right here, we're going to do half double crochet, I got my cheat sheet. I thought I'd show you. See my little cheat sheet here? Okay, so we're going to do a half double crochet. And this is what's going to help form the corners. And then we're going to do a double crochet. And then a half double crochet, all in that same stitch. chain 1. We're going to skip this one right here. And in those next 2 chain stitches, we're going to slip stitch. Normally you could pick up 1, but I suggest picking up 2 parts of the chain. So here's 1 slip stitch and our second slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to do what we did in reverse. So chain 1. We're going to skip this next stitch here, and in our double crochet stitch, half double crochet, double crochet, and half double crochet. And chain 1. Skip the next stitch. Okay, and then single crochet, single crochet, and then chain, let's see, chain 1. We're going to skip single crochet, chain, single crochet. So in the second single crochet, single crochet. So this is what we have. Kind of gives, well, this is on the end, so it doesn't look 100%, but it gives the shape of the candy corn. So let's try that again. We got 1 single crochet. Now this is our repeat, okay, because when we originally started, we started with a slip stitch, but that's only because of that beginning. So this is our repeat. Single crochet, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and that double crochet. So of these 3, you want to be in the middle. Half double crochet, double crochet, and half double crochet, all in the 1 stitch. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and slip stitch into the 2 chains. And I suggest you pick up 2 parts of the chain if you can. Okay, and then chain 1, and skip 1, half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, chain 1, skip your next stitch, and then 2 single crochets. And then chain 1, and that'll stop the repeat right there. Okay, so if you really look at it, you can see the better shape of the candy corn. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and also place what we're going to be doing up here on the screen, well, right about here, to make it so that you can follow along easier when doing this. So continue this all the way around till you get to the end, and in that last one, go ahead and slip stitch, and then cut your tail long, and then we'll move on to our outline. So how did you do on that row? I rolled mine up, and as you look at it, it looks like one of those hibiscus kind of flowers, I guess. But of course it'll do its thing here. So the next row we're going to do is our outline row. me show you here. This is our outline row. Now I'm going to do mine in a variety of colors for this video to give you an idea of what the colors are going to look like. I'm going to show you how to go around each one of these to make the candy corn look like an individual instead of a beautiful flower. So I'm going to start off with white, and then I'm going to go to yellow, orange, and brown. But I'm only going to be showing you how to do the stitching around a couple of the flowers, and then you make the decision whether you want to stay with strictly white or wait a few minutes, and I'll show you what mine looks like with the variety of colors in it. Okay, and then after we complete this, we'll move on to our little friendly ghost here. So let's start with our white. Let's put a short tail on our slip knot with hook, and we'll start. Please pause your video. So let's begin this row by placing a slip knot into that first stitch. Okay, and snug everything up. Now don't worry about the tail right now. We'll worry about the tail when we continue around. What we're going to do first is in between each petal, I know it's candy corn, but I'm going to call them a petal. We're going to do a super long joined front post treble, double treble crochet. I know it's a mouthful and you're going to hate me when all this is said and done, but when it's all completed, it will really look nice and give the individual candy corn look that we're looking for. So let's yarn over twice. Okay, and remember where that chain one was? So for this end piece, we're just going to go ahead and go under, like so. Drop a loop. We're not done yet. Yarn over twice or 3 times. And right here at the end of this row, drop a loop. Okay, now we're going to go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. Okay, now let's pick up our tail, and in every stitch around, 1 single crochet until you hit to where this chain 1 space is. So single crochet over all of these, including those slip stitches, 1 single crochet all the way around, and I'll meet you there. Alright, so we went all the way around. Of course, when you're done, you can shape it, and it'll look just like the petal. So let's finish the other side here. Okay, now I know I said 3, but I think depending on your tension will determine how many wraps you're going to do. So I'm going to do 2, and I'm going to come down here, see where you got your first one, but right here, I'm going to go ahead and join up in there. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 this time, and then I just want to pick up the white. Okay, and then 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. Yeah, my first one wasn't tight enough. So I'm going to have to go back and redo that. I'm not perfect either. I'm just trying to give ideas so that we can keep enjoying crochet. But, so you'll see here how it stays right in. Okay. Now, let's move on to our next one. So we're going to skip this chain from behind and then single crochet in all of the single crochets around. So this will be a real simple finish, and when it comes time to change colors, you may want to consider having 2 rows of color next to each other to make it look like an individual candy corn of a different color. In fact, I'm going to do a total of 3 petals here, and then I'm going to show you what to do to change your color. Now, since we've already done 2 of the long treble outlines, I think you already have an idea of how this is going to join. And you see how it joins to the white, so that we can maintain the white color. So go ahead and I'm going to do 3 petals. If you choose to change color, that's up to you. If not, continue on, and I'll show you what I'm going to do for the changing of the colors, and then like I said before, we'll move on to the ghost. So here you can see I finished 3 colors. I want to move on to the next color. So with the last 2 loops on my hook, I'm going to change my color. Of course, the tails will all be crocheted in under the single crochet. But what I am planning to do here to show the identification of the new color, I'm going to go ahead and place the same row of stitching with the front post trebles next to the white one. I'm not going to go all the way down to the end because I still want the center of the white candy corn to show. So let's see how that turns out. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. And then I'm going to continue around. So, instead of me showing you every step of the way on all these colors, either you can wait till the video shows more of the colors, or stay with the one color and go ahead and finish yours to the end. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and show you what it's going to look like with the color changes at the end of this row. So, give me a few seconds and I'll show you what it's all about. Well, I finished the petals. It took a little bit of time. So this will help you to decide what color you might like. I think I like the white better because it stays with the white at the tip of the candy corn. But I did this for you so you can see how the colors would look otherwise. Okay? So we have all of our long strands right here, and we're going to join them all together and braid them all. So bring them towards this area right here. Even though we have the one extra, I'm going to go ahead and include it with the yellow, and I'm just going to go ahead and braid everything down. I'm going to go for about 6 inches. So I'm going to encourage you to braid yours as well. And then we're going to start on our ghost. So with a short tail, slip knot on our hook, let's start with a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the second chain, 1 half double crochet and half double crochet to the end of the row. In that last half stitch, let's place our second half double crochet. Oops. Okay, chain 1 and turn your work. Half double crochet in the first stitch, and in each stitch across, at the last stitch, we're going to place a second one in the same stitch as the last stitch. Okay, so here's our last stitch. So we're going to place 2 in that stitch. Chain 1, turn your work. Now you're not going to see the point here for the candy cane yet. That'll be done when we add the outside. We're going to put some double crochets up in here. So for the white, we're going to increase on every row at the end, and we're going to do this for a total of 5 rows. You see how it's starting to go out already. Continue with the next 2 rows. Please pause your video. I've completed the first of 2 stitches in that last stitch. We're going to change color. So here I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm just going to go through the first chain, and that'll help lock the stitch in place. And then I'm going to change to orange and complete the stitch. Chain 1. Now if you want, you can take your orange tail, and we're going to go and crochet over the top of it, doing the same thing that we've been doing. We're going to continue with the orange for 5 rows. Remember to do 2 in the last stitch of every row. So continue on, and we'll do 5 orange rows. So after our 5 orange rows, it's color change time again. So let's go ahead and change to yellow. Remember, we did just the slip stitch over that first loop on the chain there. Let's change to yellow. Okay, chain 1, turn our work. And I know I didn't comment it before, but of course we want to cut the unused color off. And in this case, let's go ahead and crochet over the top of the two colors. We're going to continue on with the same pattern, adding 2 half double crochets at the end of the row. We're going to do yellow for 5 rows. Do not cut. We have additional rows of yellow that we're going to do, and we're going to add our curly tail for our ghost. So, yellow 5 rows and then stop. Please pause your video. We're now going to start decreasing. So we're going to skip this first stitch, yarn over, pick up a loop, yarn over, and into the second stitch. You should have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over through all of them. This will help start the curve that we're looking for on the bottom. Half double crochet across till you get to about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th stitch, and I'll meet you there. When you get to that 5th stitch, chain 1, let's turn our work. Skip this first one, and we'll do the decrease in the next 2. Okay, continue across until you get to the 1, 2, to the 3rd one, where we will make an additional decrease at the end of the row. So within those last 2 stitches, we're going to make our decrease. Chain 1 and turn. And we're going to do the same thing at the beginning of this row. Skip the first one, and in the next 2, let's do our decrease. Okay, and let's half double crochet across. Okay, so I'm not going to use this last one, but we're going to use these last 2 stitches for our decrease. Chain 1 and turn. And this row we're going to start the curly, but first we're going to do our decrease. So skip the first one, decrease in the second one. One half double crochet. Okay, now we're going to make our curly. So chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Skip the first one, and in the one part of that chain, 2 single crochet. 2 single crochet in the next chain. 2 single crochet in the next chain. Okay, so we want 2 double crochets, 1, 2, 3 half double crochets, so we want 2 more chains with 2 single crochet in it. Okay, so for the next 3 chains, 2 half double crochet. And then in the last 2 chains, we'll do 2 double crochets in each chain. Okay, then we're going to bring over our tail, skip 1 chain, come to the second one, and single crochet, and then slip stitch into that last chain. It looks kind of unusual right now, but once we put the white around it, it'll look different. So let's go ahead and cut this. Now, our regular snowmen usually have arms, so we need to add arms on both sides. So we're going to do ours in orange. Let me get the orange out. Put a short tail on it with a slip knot on your hook. So here is our first row of orange and our second row of orange. So right here, we're going to join with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In the second, 1, 2, skip 2. So in the third, we're going to place 1 half double crochet. In the second one, 1 half double crochet. In the third and fourth, we're going to do a combined stitch with double crochet. So pick up, yarn over and pick up, through 2, yarn over into the second stitch, through 2, and join it all together. This will help cause our hand to go up in the air. Okay, and then we have 2 stitches left, so 1 double crochet in each of those stitches. And then we're going to slip stitch to the first row of the orange. If I can get my hook out of the way, you'll see his hand going up. Okay, do the same for the second side, and then we'll start on the outline of the whole ghost. Ooh! Oh, he ain't scary yet, huh? All right. So, we're going to be adding the tails to our stitching as we go around. So, let's make a short tail here. Now, since I have 2 tails over here, I'm just going to flip it over. And I'm going to start over here. We're going to go around. Now, I cannot give you exactly how many stitches, but you want to space them so that the size of your chain at the top of your stitch will be the width of the placement of the next stitch. And since we're doing half double crochet in each of these rows, sometimes you can do 2 in one row and 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. So it depends on the size of your stitching and basically just where you want to place the next stitch. So as we go up here to the top of the head, remember to crochet over your tail as well. Okay, so here we are at the top. I'm going to chain 3. And this is going to be a combined to make 1 stitch. So yarn over, and I'm going to go in between the posts. I'm not going to pick up the top of the chain or anything like that. I'm going to go in between and then pick up just like that. Okay. And we got 1 more. Okay, so I've done 4 half done, not half double, just half done double crochets. Yarn over through all of them, then chain 3, and come down here, and let's make a single crochet. We're going to carry on with our stitching. And I'm going to take both of the tails, fold them in either direction, and crochet over them. Placing single crochet all the way around. Remember, you can always stretch these to make sure that they stay underneath the stitching. And then we can cut them. So here we're coming up on the arm. Now to add a little curve to the outside here, what I can do is I'll pick up and I'll start on the orange, carrying the orange tail, and then I'm going to go through all 3 and see how that kind of brought the curve here. And now these are the top of the stitches. Carry your orange. We're just going to do 1 per stitch around. All right, so continue on, continue down. And when you get down here to the tail, I'll meet you there. Please pause your video. So as we go around the tail, it's going to be kind of self-explanatory. Just 1 per stitch. And I'll of course include the tail from the beginning of our row or the ending of our row. And then when you go all the way around and start to come around, add additional stitches to meet the curvature as we did up here on the hands and stuff. And then once you come around, you can pick up in each one of these and come all the way around and then join with a slip stitch at the finish. And then we're ready to hang him and put his little face on. Boo! Yeah, I'm at it again. Okay, so now that we have our curly tail and our hands, okay, I have a black felt tip marker. I'm going to go ahead and make a decision on where his eyes should be. And if you make a mistake like I did, let's go ahead and enlarge the other eye. And then we can make our mouth. Now, if you don't want to use a marker, and say like you got hot glue or You can always use felt pieces, or you can go buy googly eyes at the store. And then on the other side, go ahead and do the same thing, or you can do like I do and create a another facial look. I'm known for these facial looks because I'm happy. I enjoy life, and I hope you enjoy it too. Okay? So the last thing that we're going to do is we need to place a hanging part for our little ghost here. So I'm doubling it over. I'm going to have about 8 inches. It could be however long you want it to be. And let's bring it to our braided end here. However long you want it to hang. Let's go ahead and take all of this and place an overhand knot. Okay, and that'll hold the braid and everything in place. And then I'm going to take what's left here and kind of help fill in that little section. I'm just going to cut the little fringy pieces off. So that way we have this to hang with. Okay, and we are done with our little candy corn wind spinner. Let me hang it up for you so you can see. Oh, wait a second, we're not totally done. We have one more point we have to hang, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like hanging. Now, as I commented before, I think I prefer the white all the way around, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to see what the other colors would look like so you didn't waste your time deciding on, oh, I don't like that or whatever. So okay, so here, let me see if we can raise him up. I know I'm in my craft room here. And then here's our little ghost. So let me hang him so you can see him a lot better. So here we are. Of course, this is in my craft room, and it's the middle of the night, but I wanted to show you what he'll look like. Now this is the one that if you choose to make the candy corn with the different colors, that'll give you an idea of what it looks like. And here's my original demo one where I used white as the outline all the way down. So whichever you choose to use as your outline, I'm sure you will love it. Looks like he wants to give a hug. And there's his tail. I hope you enjoyed this crochet tutorial on how to make this candy corn with the ghost wind spinner. So, till next time, say bye-bye, ghost. And let's give everybody a big hug. Come back. Come back.